That's all the surveying issues that I noticed. I apologize for missing that one in the beginning. Any other surveying issues, Curtis?
Not that I know of. No, I think we're good. Just a general question, Barbara, any news on a new LS member for the board?
Nothing.
Is there someone I can contact? If there's someone that either Ken or I or Tony or Bob or anybody suggests, who do we suggest them to? You? Or is there someone at the governor's office?
If you have somebody suggest, you can suggest it. Yeah, maybe email it to me, and then Alan DeMata, who is the assistant to the commissioner, and she can at least give me a name who's currently the one who's handling anything like that, because it seems to change every 3 to 6 months of whoever the contact person is. So the last time I asked, and then it got changed again. So yeah, that way I can forward it to Alan DeMata. As I said, she's the administrative assistant to the commissioner. So so she can at least point us in the right direction.
Very good.
You're good. You have some names, Kurt, that you can forward?
Well, I couldn't. I was thinking of Reese. You know, Reese sat in on our meetings for years, and I don't know if he's still. I don't know if he's still doing that. He may be, but that was one suggestion I was thinking of. Reese Roberts.
Yep. Or, you know, perhaps an inquiry of anybody that might be interested in serving could be perhaps put out by Kathy from CALS. Is that an idea? You know, put out a notice that the board is seeking individuals who are interested in serving, and see who comes up.
Yeah.
You think that's too broad?
Well, okay.
Worth it. Well, it's just a consideration.
Yeah, that sounds fine. There is another individual who contacted me. I just, you know, about position, but I thought Reese might be somebody. He didn't contact me about this, by the way. This is just my own thought, because he seemed to take a real interest in doing it. You know, I noticed he was he and Jay Duty went and looked at some old surveying equipment in the state. We got a notice from CALS on it. I think he has a real interest in the profession, has sat in on many of our board meetings.
Correct. So inquire of him if he wants to become an active member, and then send it to Barbara, and let's move forward.
Yeah,
would be good.
I will do that.
All right.
I would support
say,
Reese.
What was that?
I said I would support Reese.
Right.
Yeah, so would I. I think it would be
Okay.
good.
So let's have him submit his name if he's interested, and then have Barbara move it up to the next station before they leave again.
Yeah, I'll call him. I'll give Reese a call. This is
right.
just my own idea, and I haven't run it by him, so I will.
Okay. Thank you, Kurt.
Sure.
With that, I think we've concluded our surveying issues on the agenda, and I thank you for attending and your input.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Right. Talk to you soon. Yeah, bye.
You guys.
Thanks, guys.
So let's move back now to our regular agenda. The first items on the agenda for applicants for Class 1 exam credit part 1. I reviewed the first group from Chilhan through Yamamine. I found them all to be with qualified EITs and all appropriate undergraduate education. So my recommendation would be to approve. Is there a motion to accept my recommendation?
I will move so.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Thanks, Robert. All those in favor of the motion to approve Chilhan through Yamamine for Class 1 credit part 1, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. John reviewed the next group under Class 1 credit part 1, Della Bianca through Mercado Martinez. There are 5 applicants.
I will move approval.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Al. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And Bob Doan reviewed by Zensky and Putak for Class 1 Credit Part 1.
This is the same Putak that we just talked about. I'll make a motion to approve both of them for Class 1 exam.
Hold on a second. Thank you, John. Ken? Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve by Sensky and Putak for Class 1 Credit Part 1, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Then we had one applicant, William Fair, for Class 2 Credit Part 1, reviewed by Bob Doan.
I make a motion to approve William Fair for the Class 2 exam.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Al. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. That moves us into our agenda where we review applicants for Class 4 license. Last month in July, we tabled the application for Stephen Price, pending a review of his education. And has there been any input from that? A review or consideration for the curriculum? It was from Stockton University in part, then some courses from what they call Rowan, and then some courses from Purdue.
This was the one that John, I think you reviewed.
Yes. Well,
And,
no,
and we wanted to open it up for discussion with you, and you weren't available. So
okay. He has all 3 degrees. He has, the physics has no engineering in it that I can tell, and he has a master's and a PhD, both. They're all structural engineering courses, so he doesn't really have the breadth. But I don't know how I'm actually not sure about this one. He has a strong background, but he doesn't have the breadth you get from an undergraduate degree.
We went over to Texas. I don't know if I misinterpreted it, but in Texas, while he's currently licensed there through March of 22, it just said that he had no EIT certification, which kind of lends itself toward your position of concerned about the breadth of the degree. But also you consider that the strength of his structural work, which you and Richard are more qualified to evaluate.
He does have an EIT. He took it
Does
to
he?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, yes.
And I guess if you said 4 years of an engineering degree, at least with the master's and the PhD, he's got the 4 years.
Right. My inclination, based on the additional work at Purdue and the experience that he's described, would be to vote in favor.
Hey, John, his undergraduate degrees in physics and the 2 grad degrees are in engineering?
The undergraduate's in physics,
Yeah,
so it's a non-engineering degree. It doesn't, I mean, he has obviously the science and math required of an engineering program, but that's it. He doesn't have any engineering in it.
What does the master's and doctorate for civil engineering do for him?
I missed that question.
Well, he's got a master's in civil engineering and a doctorate in civil engineering, doctorate.
Right.
Does that help anything with the bachelor's?
The fact that the doctorate's from Purdue, I'm completely clear about Rowan University, how much stronger program it is, but the fact that doctorate's from Purdue and he has quite a bit of experience. I'll make a motion that we approve.
For a
Second,
second?
second.
Thanks, Bob. Well, I support that. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, just to weigh in terms of, I was on the fence myself in terms of, the fact, but when I looked at his physics degree, it definitely had a lot of math and a lot of science. And I think that, if you can understand, how math and science affect, engineering, especially structural engineering, and that there's always a cause and effect for, why things happen and how they're going to perform in real life. So, with, that depth of, science in math, that, and having the two advanced degrees, and again, looking at the degree from Purdue, and I would agree with, Professor DeWolf or Dr. DeWolf that, it makes sense to approve him.
He does have 4 years of engineering education.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
he meets, so.
And his undergraduate is heavily math and science. So like you said, collectively they work together. And if it was, some kind of a geology, degree or something, or a biology degree where, it's not necessarily physics is kind of the upper echelon of the sciences when you start thinking about, evolution and how things actually work. So, I think that, in that vein, it definitely lends some credence that, he has, the knowledge and that he can adapt to certain situations.
I think that's a good way of putting it, the fact that it is a physics degree and it is more applicable to engineering. Good.
All right, is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve Stephen Price, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. I appreciate that discussion. I think it was appropriate for this applicant. Bob Lewandowski reviewed the next group of applicants for Class 4 reciprocity: Albano, McCray on page 4, and McCune through Chesney on page 5.
Yeah, all of them are model law engineers with good experience and good degrees, with the exception of Robert Nergeroge on the second page there, Njoroge.
Well, just call him Giroux.
I can't pronounce that one. So he is not a model law engineer. His bachelor's is from University of Nairobi, master's degree at UMass Lowell, master's degrees in both degrees in civil engineering. His undergraduate wasn't equivalent. He was 7 credits short in general education, as usual with the foreign degree, but that did not include the master's degree courses. So the engineering more than enough in the undergraduate degree to meet the engineering requirements, again, without even taking into account the master's degree. So based upon that, I would include them. I would include Robert along with the rest of them and recommend them all for approval.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. I reviewed the next group: Bennett, Beveridge, Cotu, De Leon, and Foreman. 3 out of the 5 were model law engineers. They're all otherwise qualified with current licenses in other jurisdictions. So I would recommend approval of those applicants. There's a motion to accept my recommendation.
So moved.
Thank you, Richard.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Al. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And Richard reviewed the next group of Class 4 applicants: Aiello through Chemoyen on page 5 of our regular agenda.
Okay, I guess I reviewed Alex Riley, and he has a bachelor's and a master's from Worcester Polytech. And he received his bachelor's in May of 2018. and his master's in December of 2018. But the fact that he graduated in 2018 and we're only in 2021 only gives him 3 years of experience. And normally what we do is if you're in residence and you get your master's, we give you a year of residence, but it wasn't a year of residence for his master's. So I think that he's lacking in experience in order to meet our criteria of having a minimum of 4 years of experience.
What was what year was the master's?
In 2018, December of 2018.
Right, so he won't even have the 3 years until December of 21, which means he would get the
Right.
credit for the 1 year of master's, but it would not be until December.
Right.
I agree. It sounds,
Yeah.
did he do the masters while he was doing the other one, or did he do it full time?
I think he did them both at the same time because there's only a 7-month, difference between the two.
So he
you know.
must have had a course or two he had to add, and he already started the masters.
Yeah, I'm sure he started his master's while he was doing his undergraduate, and then he added, 2 more courses. So he had another semester. So he graduated at, in the midterm type of thing. But
So
so
he
I don't-
needs 3 years after the masters.
correct. And
Which
and
he
he won't
doesn't
get that
have.
until December.
Yep.
So I think that in that vein, Alex Riley should, again, he doesn't have enough experience. So I think that we should sort of just indicate that, he should come
He
back.
got licensed in Massachusetts?
He got, actually, he had his fundamentals in Massachusetts and his professional in California, his, principles from California in
But
2000.
where's his current license?
In Massachusetts, in California.
Oh, California. Because California requires 3 years. One of the guys that used to work here actually flew out to California to take his exam because he can get it in 3 years.
Right. And I think that's what he probably did. And once he had California,
Well, I think that's, we have to be consistent, so we should advise him of same.
correct.
So you have a motion to,
I'll motion to not deny, but indicate that he requires some additional experience before he meets our criteria.
That is to deny.
Okay, deny.
Yeah. at
can say
this time.
defer.
And we would approve it then in January.
Right.
Just, that's the answer. He'd be eligible for reciprocity in Connecticut. January 1,
Correct.
As
That's the
long as he
motion.
continues to practice.
right?
Correct.
So the motion is to advise Mr. Riley that per our standards and regulations, he would be eligible for reciprocity in January.
Correct.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second,
Thank you, John. All those in favor of the motion to advise Alex Riley that he would be eligible for reciprocity in Connecticut as of January 1st. All those,
providing he continues to practice.
provided he continues practicing. So any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries.
Okay,
Okay,
for the remainder of the applications, I had one non-model law, Mr. Kodura. And he was in 9 semester or 9 hours short in general education, and he had his original degree from India, and he did have a master's from West Virginia, technical university. And I guess there's Mr. Booher indicated that he was denied by a state. He didn't say which state. And all he indicated is that he had filled out the form wrong. I'm not sure what that means, how he filled out the form wrong.
don't let
Somehow-
John know that. Don't let John know that.
That he filled out the form wrong, so he was denied. And I'm like, how do you fill out a form wrong? It's like, don't they just say to, just fix it and we'll send it back to you or something? I don't know. But anyways, in that vein, you know, I think that for the remainder, I do, oh, there's another thing is that Mr. Kodura, you know, I didn't see that he had a fundamentals of engineering. You know, I had two verifications for his principles, but not his fundamentals. So if we should just verify that he did
Double
have
check.
the fundamentals from, I believe it's West Virginia.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So with that said, you know, I'll make a motion that we approve, you know, with those conditions.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Rob. All those in favor of the motion to approve Aiello through Matthews and Paul Chamoyan for reciprocity with the condition that we verify the FE for Mr. Kanduru. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And John reviewed the next group, Alexandra through O'Neill on page 5 of our regular agenda.
They're all perfectly acceptable. I note that Burgone and Burke both wrote in their thing that they had problems with drinking it as an underage or early in their career. One wrote a long letter how he's got 3 children now and a foster child, and he's doing everything he can to make sure they don't follow his path with respect to underage drinking. But no, they're all approval. They all meet the requirements, and I recommend approval.
Your second? Thanks, Al. All those in favor of the motion to approve Alexandra, Burgon, Burke, Menson, and O'Neill, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Bob Doan reviewed the next group, Bettsill through Wolf on page 5 for class 4 reciprocity.
Okay, for Catherine Coombs, Barbara, I have her license in Massachusetts expired June 21.
Okay.
And if we could just verify that she continued that license.
Sure.
And for Shelton Kingsling, is the Citadel is non-ABET?
I think prior it wasn't prior. So when he went, it wasn't accredited at the time.
It was not?
Correct.
All right, because he was a non-model law and I didn't know that the Citadel wasn't
Right.
accredited, but it is. Is it now, do you know, or?
Yes, I've seen it before.
Okay,
Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah.
okay, and Mr. Patel was on his equivalent degree, he was short 9 credits in humanities. But he had like 80 credits in engineering. So I make a motion to approve the entire group with the condition for Catherine Coombs.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Rob. All those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Moving on to page 6, we have a group of applicants, Arno through Walkman for class 9 license. So motion to approve.
So move.
Thanks, John.
Second.
Thanks, Richard. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Now, our ever efficient and hardworking, dedicated, without peer board administrator has reviewed the applicants for corporate practice of engineering. And she has found that Banksia Engineering PC, Environmental Partners Connecticut Inc., Ober Miller Nelson Engineering Inc., the Fourth Dimension Design Inc., Well and Associates Inc., Integral Consulting Inc., the Jade Corporation, Poulos and Bennett LLC, and Shirk and O'Donovan Consulting Engineers, all qualify for the corporate practice of engineering. Is there a motion to accept her review and findings?
I make a motion to approve and accept the findings, and thank you for doing that, Barbara. Appreciate
And
it.
I'll second that motion.
Which part, Richard? Which part?
Yeah, I was gonna say, which part? All those in favor of the motion? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And a large enthusiastic round of applause for Barbara.
Yes, absolutely.
Barbara, I would have brought some cookies again, but you know, A, my wife stopped making them because I'm too fat. And B, it's hard to get them through the computer.
Yes, it is.
I take issue with the fat part, but the fact that she's not making any more cookies. All right. We have one reinstatement request from John Cowles. He
I make
paid
a
all the
mo-
back fees since he has not been continuously licensed. What's he been doing?
I'm not sure. He didn't say, but he did submit an application. And I make a motion to approve. But we could ask what he's doing, I guess.
Yeah, when you're licensed lapsed in 2005 and you haven't been working, what have you been doing? Isn't it appropriate that we have an actual, verification?
Mr. Cowles is actually attending the meeting. Would you like to ask him? Hey, I'll
Sure.
put him over. Yep, he's
Sure.
on, he's here. Yep. So hold
We
on.
have in the past asked for applications when there's been such a significant lapse, because
Let me change him.
what are we doing to keep up on current standards and specifications?
Here he is.
Good morning, John.
Morning. I'm working.
What was that?
Hold on, hold on.
with.
Is he back on?
Hello.
I can hear him.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. I'm not sure why my camera is off. There we go. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm actually in my office, so that's my background. But I work at a company called RBC Bearings, and I've been here since 2005, and have not really worked in a professional engineering capacity, but I run a group of 20 people where we do a lot of more design and development work for new products. So I really run the R&D facility here. So I'm at the point in my career where I'm looking to likely soon retire from this line of work, and I'd like to have my PE license in order to be able to do some work in the future for a registered company, or for a company that would require that.
Right. So you've been working with the same company since the license lapsed, but you just chose not to continue the license, but doing the same work for.
Correct.
Yeah, the last 15.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that makes sense. Anybody that was in that same position would probably apply the same way you did, but is there any questions anybody wants to put forth to Mr. Cowles?
Is the view up from Ireland?
Yeah, that is Ireland. That's that's a trip that I took 2 years ago. A picture of one of the heads in Ireland on the Dingle Peninsula, and it's been a long time. It seems like it was such a long time ago with the way things have happened in the last 2 years with COVID and being cooped up.
I have a similar picture I took when we were there a number of years ago.
Yeah, it's great. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Okay. Any other questions, any discussion? Mr. Doan,
I'll make a motion to approve
I'll
for
second it.
reinstatement.
I'll second.
thanks, Al. Any further discussion? Any questions for Mr. Cowles? All those in favor of the motion to reinstate, welcome back. Thanks for paying all those fees.
Yeah, help the state.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you,
Thanks
John. Nice
for-
to meet
Thank you
you.
all.
Thanks for coming on, John.
Okay.
We have dealt with item G1, which would conclude our regular agenda items, which would move us on to our supplemental agenda, which we received yesterday. And the first applicants for Class 1 Credit Part 1 were Ashwin Pudel and Preet Kanwal Singh Ubi.
I move approval. I've reviewed them and they're for class 1 credit part 1.
I'll second.
Thank you, Al. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Two applicants have requested approval to sit for the fire protection exam. They are already currently licensed as engineers here in the state. Krastanska and Smith. Is there a motion to approve the
So
exam?
moved.
Thank you, Robert.
Second,
Thank you, Richard. Barbara, we haven't had many of those types of applications, right?
No, only because if it's a more specific type of a discipline, because we really don't want them sitting for every discipline because we aren't a discipline specific, but if they go for fire protection or especially the structural, that 16-hour then, and they're already currently licensed. Yeah, it doesn't happen that often.
Good. All those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Then we have one applicant, John Nucatola. He was previously approved to sit for the PE in Connecticut. However, along the way, he passed the PE in New York. He was issued a license. And so now he just wants to transfer under Class 4 reciprocity. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Oh, did he submit an application?
Yeah, it's because he applied originally for the exam, which he was approved to sit for, but now he's really a reciprocity applicant, so I had to apply again now under Class 4
Okay.
because he already holds a license in another state.
And we had approved him to take the exam.
Correct. So he met all the qualifications. He just sat for it in New York and finished the whole thing here, so.
Right.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. John reviewed another applicant for Class 4 reciprocity, Anthony Verde.
I move approval.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Robert. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Rob Lewandowski reviewed Culver, Mamos, and Williams for Class 4 reciprocity.
Yeah, all three are model law, good degrees, good experience. I recommend approval.
I'll second.
Thanks, Al. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. I reviewed the next three applicants, Kanzada, Lovejoy, and Lida. Two model laws, all currently licensed, good background education. Only one with two of the three had masters. So my recommendation is to approve all three for reciprocity. So a recommendation, a motion to.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Richard.
I'll second.
Thank you, Rob. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And Richard reviewed the last 2 on page 1 of our supplemental, Nelson and Patke for class 4 reciprocity.
I'll make a motion that we approve both of them. Mr. Patki actually had his degree out of India and he was non-model law. He was short by 9 hours in general education, but that is par for the course for the education that you did have. So I'll make a motion that we approve both.
Second.
Okay. Thanks, Al. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And Bob Doan reviewed Holden, Cornfell, and Manapale for class 4 reciprocity.
Monopoli had was non-model law, foreign degree in India, missing 4 hours of general ed. But everything else was fine. I make a motion to approve all 3.
Second. Oh,
Thanks, John. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Then we have 2 more applications for the corporate practice of engineering, which Barbara reviewed. 12R Engineering Services LLC and Master Engineers and Designers from Lynchburg.
Thanks
Is there a
again,
motion?
Barbara. I'll
Yep.
make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second. Thanks, Al.
Because is that really 12R or is it I2R?
It should be it's I2R.
I too are.
It's
I2R.
I2R.
You know, they should, people should realize, you know, how it comes across in, you know, when you're typing and it,
Exactly.
you know, it's just, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, having said that, all those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And then we have one more applicant for reinstatement back to 1999. He has been working in another state. He has not signed or sealed anything in Connecticut. Mr. Prasad Nalapanani.
Yes.
Richard, you reviewed that.
Actually, he's been working, I guess, in the DOT in the state of Virginia for, you know, working his way up the ladder. And I imagine he's trying to do some DOT work in Connecticut now. So I'll make a motion that, you know, we accept his application. And he did have a letter that he did not sign or seal any drawings since his license lapsed in Connecticut.
Okay,
I'll second.
who said that? I missed it.
Rob,
Thank you, Rob. All those in favor of the motion to reinstate Mr. Nalapanani, say aye. Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries, which completes our agendas, and we will reconvene on Tuesday, September 14th at 11:30 for training.
And October 5th for our meeting.
And October 5th for hearing.
Meeting, yep, and hearing.
All right. Yep, so, yeah. Next meeting, October 5th. With hearing. And 9:14. Training. What do we say now, Al?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thanks, Richard. All right, I appreciate it.
Have a good month, everybody.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, Robert.
Enjoy.
Take care.
Enjoy the rest of your summer.
okay. Enjoy the end of the summer.
Yeah.
All righty.
Cheer already.
And
Yeah,
good
bye.
luck with the respected cookies, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to confess, I shamed her and I bought some ripe peaches. And so she's supposed to be making a peach cobbler in the next couple